Boom. It's about that time. Let's see. Let's turn the Instagrams on. 1 and 2. Let's see who else is awake. All right. Here we go. I think. All right. I think I'm ready. You can do this. Okay. Tonight is a dual ramble. My guest is Daniel Jacob Horine of Popfly Pop Shop. Try saying that a bunch of times. So here we go.
Bebop.
Welcome, Daniel.
Hey, thank you, Sergio, for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm
I've got a camera over here and we'll see how well this works.
I'm about to get a third monitor. I'm so excited. So let me see. Let's see. I'm gonna queue up visuals here, I think. All right. I'm so proud of myself right now.
Wow.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll dive into your work. So we have a listening audience as well. So we use our powers of articulation to talk about your work. So
awesome.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on here. I can't get out of the baseball section. That's just surprising. Let me see. I will.
So if you go to retired pop flies, and
there we go.
And then retired baseball pop flies is the stuff.
But yeah, these are awesome.
Thanks.
So what they are pretty much comic books. Can you tell me about them? I've seen them, like I get lost in them.
Yeah, so I wish they were full comic books, but what they really are just the covers.
Yep.
I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, almost every single week. I just wrapped up piece number 160, and I do football as well. So right in the beginning of the pandemic, I started creating these on a kind of by accident, and just making these covers. As you know, baseball is a big wide world with lots of interesting characters and colorful characters, and so there was just a lot of room to go and to play with the storylines and the heroes and the villains. So just week after week, I've just been kind of chipping away at this big capital B story of baseball with these covers, and they're available for a short time, and then they're retired. So folks, anyone in the world can get one, but they just have a small window to do so.
Okay, so during that window, there isn't a number cap.
Exactly. So the print one will kind of swing wildly, kind of depending on a lot of things. But it's time is the only cap we have here.
Yeah, I love the Sid Finch.
Thanks. And I've had the fortune of collaborating with a lot of these athletes to make these. I worked with the guy Joe Burton who played. I don't know what the term is, but he was Sid Finch for the Sports Illustrated story. I worked with Bartolo Colon on that piece there. So I've gotten the opportunity to work with a lot of these players here to kind of bring these things to life.
Yeah, that's cool. So again, for the listening audience, what they are is they're comic book style covers, and then each week there's a different player. Now, is there, like you do other sports?
Yeah,
How do you decide what you vary week to week?
Baseball is pretty consistent. That's been the main focus of the whole project, and football. Kind of I do alongside with baseball. Football is every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um, so sometimes I'm releasing two in a week, and then one of them football, one of them's baseball. So I keep busy. It's I went from artist who didn't create much at all to artist who cannot catch a breath. So
Yeah, I think so. You started this particular project during the pandemic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. My father had passed right before the pandemic started, and kind of as one does in those moments, you very much turn inward and you go into reflection mode, and especially being a father myself, then there's all sorts of existential dread and whatnot that you kind of go through, and while the whole world literally is turning outside in with the lockdowns and everything like that, I was very much reflecting on the things of my youth. And when I was a
Yeah.
kid, it was baseball and comic books, and so that's kind of what one of the many ingredients that led to this thing kind of happening.
So prior to the project, what were you working on?
Prior to this, a super low key project where I was basically doing chat gpt things before chat gpt was a thing. I was reimagining. I did all 30 mlb teams as he-man masters of the universe characters, and then I did the same thing with all the NFL teams and nba teams, and so, and the things that you can type in a prompt now, and chat
Uh-huh.
gpt will, or Midjourney, whatever, will spit out a thing. I was doing that little project there, but prior to that, there was a lot of nothing. And when I turned 40, when I turned 40, it 40 does what 40 does, and you stop thinking about, like, oh man, I'm getting so old. The years are racking up from the year I was born. Then you start at 40-ish, you kind of turn around and look at the other side, say, oh man, it's also a countdown on the other side. So I need to get busy. I need to start making. And so for a long time, I was sort of, I would wait for inspiration, wait for the work to be right, me to be right, everything to be right. And if it wasn't perfect, I didn't show it. But as soon as I hit 40, I was like, oh man, this is my time. They can't pickle my brain when I'm done. And siphon all the good ideas out. So now it's my time to start making. So once that started happening, I just became a making machine. And so within a year, I did 100 different pieces of those He-Man Masters of the Universe kind of mashups with the MLB teams and NBA and NFL and XFL too. And then Pop Fly started right after that, and we're 160 deep with baseball and almost 40 with football. So a very long answer to a very short question. Wasn't doing a lot before this. Now I'm doing as much as I can.
Yeah. And how's that been treating you?
It's been the ride of a lifetime, to be honest with you. Um, it's When I first started it, I was working a full time job, a good full time job in corporate America, doing my thing, and then my gosh, first or second piece, I think I sold, like, I don't know, 10, 11 pieces. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because no one had really bought anything before, uh, or bought anything. My grammar teacher would be appalled. But no one had bought anything before. So I had turned to my wife. I'm like, we might be able to pay for an electric bill or something like that with this. I was so excited that art, for the first time ever, now in my 40s, was able to do something, like to support in a small way. And that is something I had not seen my entire life. But gosh, by a lot of luck and a lot of good help from a lot of good people, and just being really consistent. Long story short, it ended up becoming my full-time job. Me and my wife both like do this. I don't work for a corporation anymore. I work for Popfly Pop Shop, and it's incredibly rare and so fortunate. So it's been treating me well. I'm still 10 years old, still inside, still excited to be drawing pictures of baseball players and miraculously being able to make a living off of it.
I think the pandemic, that was one of the great benefits in a weird way, such a weird time,
Yeah.
but yeah, like myself, I don't see going out and doing what I was doing before, where I was showing live, where I was doing festivals, galleries, lugging stuff physically around. Now I do, but it's to the post office, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
and so,
I think. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think it was. See, I've been a Sergio fan for a long time, and I love your stuff, and I think it was maybe around the pandemic ish that I first saw your work, and I love what you do. I love how you interpret these, not just the players, but what I love. What kind of makes my atoms buzz seems to be the same thing that makes your atoms buzz, and that there's a sweet spot when baseball meets popular culture, or sports meets popular culture, and suddenly that ring of the game and players that we know gets bigger, and more people know about it. You make a Seinfeld reference out of Keith Hernandez, and suddenly that ring is like, huge, and you do that so well and so consistently, and I love what you do, and I've been a fan for a long time.
Well, likewise, man. I was delighted when, it's like, all right, cool, we're gonna do this.
Awesome.
It's my purpose in constantly putting these videos out there, and I feel I've always felt bonded to other artists, but it's like we get to really hone in on the people that are on the same frequency as us, as
totally
individuals. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I've been really excited for this talk, just because you get to talk with a lot of folks, sure, but then but being able to talk with another artist is just another thing, and so I'm super grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, well, me too, man. So it's going like, how do you see going forward?
I don't know, and I think that's been the best answer I can give, and that's the most thoughtful answer I can give, because this whole thing has been so. I don't mean it like flippantly. I mean this whole thing has taken on such a life that I couldn't have prepared for or projected. I had my work is hanging in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and there's no way I could have 5 years ago said, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, then in 5 years my work is going to hang in the Baseball Hall of Fame. These are just like ends that I couldn't have dreamed of, and working with the athletes and whatnot. Like those are destinations I didn't know were on a map. And so the best thing I think I have done for myself is to just get out of the way and be open to the possibilities, to what's ahead, because so far it's better than what I could have dreamed of. If you would have asked me, this question 4 years ago, I'd be like, to sell a print, to sell 2 prints, that would be awesome, and that was just outside the scope of where I was at that moment, and so, God willing, something just hasn't even been invented yet. That's still ahead. Who knows? So I know it's a stupid answer, but it's a thoughtful answer nonetheless. So I don't know, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think. I think that's a proper answer. I don't know. I've gotten this far, and I don't know how. I was trying to share the screen, but we've got a question from Instagram.
Okay.
Cardboard Designs. What's up? How did those Tops Project cards come about?
Through a bit of again, just I think a little bit of good luck. I'll make the story as short as I can. In late, I think 2021, Tops they think the Tops Project 70 was going on at that time, and one of the artists, I won't name names, but if you've been following along, you'll know who. One of the artists revealed their artwork the day before it was going to drop, and it had my artwork in the background of it. And I was like, what? And that was a bit of a shock. And so, for 24 hours, it was a scandal, a pearl clutching scandal there that was about to happen. And so I didn't even reach out to anyone. I just put a thing out on Twitter saying like, so this is what's going on. What gives? And again, a 24-hour whirlwind. The artist reached out to me. I'm sorry. Let's we won't publish that one. Let's collaborate together on something else. So Tops never did release that card with my artwork on it, and me and the artist, who was part of Project 70, we ended up collaborating on a card together, for one of his releases for Project 70. And I don't know if that put me on Tops's radar or that kept me on Tops's radar, but later on, in 2022, a few months down the road, then they reached out, and kind of that's how that got kicked off, was through a weird circumstance that ended as good as it could have, and then kind of opened a door.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I think it helped too. I think to not go in guns blazing, like, what are you doing with my artwork? How you dare you? Just a post into the universe saying what's going on, what's the story, And I didn't approach it with fire, and I think that helped kind of make things easy in the future.
I have found that keeping your cool can be so rewarding.
Oh yeah, that's the superpower. If you can, yeah, that's the superpower. If you can keep control and dial it down, like it's a true superpower. And yeah, 100% agree with you.
Yeah. So, how long have you been drawing? Like, how did that start for you?
For me, it was. I don't remember not drawing. I think that's a story for a lot of artists. Is that it's just when it's part of you, it's part of you, and you just don't you just kind of discover this thing that's always been there. And that's the story for me. When I was a kid, I was the artist of the class, and just always drawing. And I went to school for fine arts. I thought I was going to be a painter. I thought I was going to draw. Like that's where my heart was, the fine arts. And I wanted nothing to do with the digital arts, because I was so worried that it was going to dull all my artistic sensibilities that I had honed in with canvas and with brushes and pencils. I was going to replace pencils with pixels, and I was just not into it. But I eventually did go to school to kind of learn the digital tools, and like, little did I know, like it's just a tool. It doesn't take away any of your artistic sensibilities. So still with me were color theory and composition and all that stuff, but I just had a different set of tools now to express it. So yeah, a whole life thinking that paints were going to be my thing, and now it's pixels, but still art nonetheless.
Do you still touch paint, or?
Not really, and it's not because I don't desire it. I actually long for it. It's just the pace at which this now goes at, it makes it impossible to do anything, because it's this company, Popfly Pop Shop, became a thing. Popfly Pop Shop Inc. And we file our taxes, and we do all the business sort of things, and we run ads, and so it becomes so much of a big, like, vacuum that sucks up a lot of time. There's not a lot of time for uh, not a lot of time for much else. But in the beginning, with Popfly, I thought I did my first few pieces with um, with the iPad, and digitally, and then it's like, oh, maybe I'm gonna move this over to the paper and pencil route, and ink it myself, but it's just nowhere near as fast. I'm nowhere near as fast as I need to be able to pull that off. So it's been it's been digital only for a long time.
So you said that you went to art school, and then did you go straight into the corporate world? How did that work?
Yeah. If any of my friends are watching, they're going to laugh at this point. I'm not what you say, someone who had it all together growing up. Went to high school. I did the whole AP art thing, and it did great. And then I got to college and just sort of floundered around. A little bit of this college, a little bit of this community college. Don't go to classes here. Don't go to classes there. It's taking art a long while, but then they make you take horrible things like math classes and whatnot. Super not into it. I was just about as good as a college student as I was a high school student, which was not good at all. But then, I don't know, a late bloomer, I guess. So I had done things like work at a pizza restaurant, and things like that. Not even not corporate anything. And then when I started to go to school for it, went to school to learn the digital tools, then I started getting those, what I call art adjacent jobs, graphic designer, or motion graphics artists, and so that's when the art adjacent jobs started happening. Is when I went to school to learn the old computer stuff.
Nice. Goro Rivera, what's up? He says, take a vacation and paint outdoors for 2 weeks.
I would love to do
Some
that.
great advice.
It totally is. That's, yeah. Yes. That my wife is a room away. I'm sure she's watching, and she's nodding her head vigorously, I'm sure.
I need to do some of that myself. It would be good. I had a friend who would go. Well, she go a lot of places, but one of them was Marfa, Texas. She'd rent a cabin, bring all the kiddos, and she'd create there, like once a year, I think.
Oh, that's cool. I had a friend who would, he and a group of artist friends, and I never sadly joined him. They would go to the zoo for the day and just sketch the animals. Or they would go here and sketch the people, and made such a good habit of just going out and sketching, and those are muscles I wish that I flexed when I could have, but good advice. I'm for it.
Yeah. I
Do you paint in a studio, or like where's
my
your
house is a studio, and I paint in it. And my kids paint in it, and we paint on each other. It's a madhouse, but yeah.
as it should be, as it should be. How old are your kids?
I've got a 8-year-old. He's about to be 9. Then I
Oh,
got twin 7-year-olds.
no way, that's awesome. I have a little 8-year-old as well, and just one, and try to involve him as much as possible into the process. Be
Yeah,
be around not only the art side of things, but even the business side of things. You know, just expose him to it. It's a world I certainly didn't know. I've had to learn how to do taxes in my 40s, like corporate taxes or whatever, and all this stuff. Like this is, or dealing with contracts and whatnot. So we try to let him see as much as possible of that. Just another world to expose him to.
yeah. I my children, of course, absorb everything. And they make all their little things, have their projects. Like I said, it's a mess in here, but I love it. I wish, yeah, I wish my house was more like that when I was growing up.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was funny growing up. There's a lot goes in. There's a lot to be said for the nature of the nature versus nurture argument, because um, growing up, I'm adopted, um, and the family that I was adopted into, firefighters, construction workers, policemen, you know, these very like not artistic jobs, just very super blue collar jobs. You know, and here's me. I like to write music and make art, you know, and I express my feelings. And this was totally different from my whole family that I grew up with. And you know, God bless all of them. But then when I got older, I got to meet my biological family. And, you know, there's a piano player and a painter and this and that. None of that I had access to even know about. You know, it's just this stuff that's baked into to your to your atoms and your DNA and whatnot, and just wild how that stuff will come out anyway, for better for worse. Whatever's in you will come out. Um, and so it's interesting to kind of see, even though there was a lot of I don't know what you call it, governors keeping that would keep that could typically keep that sort of artistic sensibilities out. You know, they come out anyways, and so I would have loved a crazy creative house as well. Um, but uh, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't come from a lineage of anything. There's a lot of poverty. There was a lot of bad situation.
Oh
But
yeah.
but you know, for me it was I credit my mom so much.
Mm-hmm.
Just she was always having me make things like and she does it with my kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
But just my early memories are cutting things out of construction paper and making things. And
That's so cool.
yeah, and so it, I really, to some degree, I think it's environment, you know, because they're getting it because of me, you know, whether
Yeah.
they'll grow up to go into the arts or not, I don't think matters. It,
Yeah.
it but I do believe it's such a healthy thing to express, to let all of that like out and share it and connect. And yeah, I think it's nothing but healthy. So I
Yeah.
definitely nurture it.
I totally agree. It's I think that's one of the gosh, I'm choosing my words carefully here, but like that's one of the benefits of just being a parent is that you can see how you can see kind of your circumstance, and then God willing, do better and build upon that, and so
Parenting is
yeah.
such a rough gig. And yeah,
It's so true,
way
but
harder
it's
than
like
being an artist. So
it totally is. It totally is, and I can tell you're a very intentional parent as well, and my wife and I too are very intentional about kind of how we raise our boy, and it's so hard, but but I always say to new parents uh, who are expecting their first kid, it's my mission in life to be a the lone voice usually. Usually folks will be like, "Oh, you're having a baby? Let me tell you how hard it is. Let me tell you the horror stories of how it is when they're born." And I always make it a point to be like, "Yeah, it's hard, but like for every ounce of struggle, there's a pound of joy." And so it is the hard. It's a tough gig. You're totally right. But as it's the most worthwhile. It's the most worthwhile struggle ever in the history of ever to do this. And what an honor! What an honor it is to be the the shepherd, the guide, the caretaker of these little ones for the brief time that we have them. That's my driving force, more so than even expressing anything artistically. It's just being a good and present father, and standing on the work of my folks, and doing things different when they need to be different, or the same when they need to be the same, and yeah, just doing as good as I can, as good as we can, my wife and I.
yeah, it's something I grumble about a lot. You know, before having kids, I had my first. He came into my life. I was 37 years old. So before that, being an artist about town, I would always hear it. Just wait till you have kids. You won't make all those pieces. You won't be so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like being told what to do or what I can't do. I don't know if that was the driving force, but I actually became much more prolific, much more intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And as they grow, they get more focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it's a choice. You can blame your kid for not doing what you want,
Mm-hmm.
or you can do something about it. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's a common grumble of mine. Look, I want to find some of these people, but I don't know where they are because they're not making art. So
Yeah. And it's same thing with me. I think I had my first kid right before I turned 37, uh,
okay,
and my first and only kid, I should say. Um,
one
and
is plenty.
I imagine. Well, I don't know. I don't want to assume anything, but one is hard, and I couldn't imagine, fathom twins, Sergio, twins.
I'm still shocked. I don't like, yeah, but
Awesome.
but
Well,
it's lovely. It is a privilege. It's not for everyone, but
yeah.
um, I think it's for me.
Hmm.
Like I feel that.
Totally. So I think for me too, I think I had this sense too when he was born and when I became a father, it was very much, very much everything came into focus and like, oh, okay, this is a lot of thoughts. First of all, my replacement has arrived, uh, which is a weird existential thing to kind of go through, especially as you get older.
Yeah.
Then and then losing your parents, and then oh, okay, I'm next in line. All right, got it. Um, but I forgot where I was going. I forgot what I was going with that. But where was I going with that? Don't know. But existential, and it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but my children really are the product of. I had an uncle who I loved so dearly. He was really a big brother. He
Mm,
was my first roommate when he came to live with us. I was in fifth grade, and I just thought he was amazing.
mm-hmm,
And then he passes away, and shortly after that, it's like I was on this mission to, I think, fill that existential void.
mm-hmm,
Like I'd always thought about children. I'd always wanted that, but I had also thought about like my uncle would come over for barbecues, and there was this cadence to the way he told a story, and that's the root of everything I do is storytelling.
mm-hmm.
My mom, my uncle, and I did used to sit there and enjoy it and dread the day
Mm,
one of those cadences was gone.
mm-hmm.
And it kind of was the weird result was making all these kids, but I don't, and that's not sane or I don't know healthy, but but yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think I think
Good.
that
Let me
vibes into
know
it.
what it is because I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but yeah, it's and we have our different purposes and reasons that drive us, and it was. And I remember my point earlier. It isn't for everybody. You're right, and then um, when I became a father, it was into focus, and it was all like, oh, this is what you're here for, and that became so fulfilling in and of itself, is just being that father, being that, I don't know. I think especially being adopted, especially coming from where I came from, my situation was dire, to put it very
yeah,
lightly. It was terrible. So it meant so much to then become an adult, then bring another life into the world, and see him in such a drastically different scenario, like a love tsunami over this kid, in stark contrast of kind of where I came from. And it was like a big, I don't do-over, I guess, and uh, not to get too much in the weeds, but I had this little like onesie when I was a little baby. Not as an adult. I don't wear onesies anymore. But I had
good.
this onesie that my adopted parents had kept. When I came to their house, I had one toy and then the clothes I was wearing, and it was
How
this
old were
brown
you?
one,
Yeah, one.
and it was this brown like velour onesie from the 70s. And my parents kept it. And then when I moved out, got married, I took it with me. And then when my son I turn everything into an art project. So when my son was
Yeah.
exactly the age that I was when I came to live with my adopted, eventually my adopted parents, I put him in this onesie, on the exact age, just for my own eyeballs and brain to see, wow, here is a plump, chunky, loved baby at the same age I was a ruined, neglected baby then. Here is that awesome little dude right now that is loved with all of his heart, all of my heart. And it did, that was, again, art project. I know it was all for me, but it just did my heart so good to know that I was able to improve whoever came next in line.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Yeah. No, there's definitely, for me, it's thinking about education.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always been called ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought it was a cute term for an artist. But yeah, you get, your life changes. It worked okay. I was this free artist just roaming the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and ADHD was okay because I worked 20 hours in a studio, passed out, did it again.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. But you add the responsibility of 3 other lives,
Mm-hmm.
housing them, feeding them, educating them. I was like, maybe it was a friend that said, go get a diagnosis
Mm.
because it was affecting my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did, and it was such clarity. And I could see my education. I could see everywhere that I was failed.
Mm.
And so as I'm working with them, I can see where they need help because this
Yes.
stuff's genetic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, you do, as a parent, you have that thing where you want to redeem, and
Mm-hmm.
especially on the creative spectrum, because I think ADHD lends itself to creativity, and I see it in them. And so I'm trying to give them that balance and understanding that I wasn't given.
Mm-hmm.
I did okay because I leaned into my strengths.
Mm-hmm.
My background is storytelling. That's what I was raised with. And so I had command of words in school, which went a long way. And I was okay. It, it made for a really weird life, but
Mm-hmm.
but here I am. But and so I'm hoping that they get more guidance than I had, because I didn't have much. I had to figure out a lot myself, and there's a lot of bumps and bruises that go with that.
Yeah. Totally. Well, kudos to you for being present and aware to know that and to take action. I think that's fantastic. I think that's sort of some of the ingredients of why I kind of made light of it a little earlier, but like just kind of floated around after high
Yeah,
school. There was no direction, no like, oh, you're good at this, let's do this, or like, oh, you struggle with this, maybe we can do XYZ to help you. There was just not a lot of that. And so I think that's I was a late bloomer because I kind of just had to, the time had to arrive for me to figure it out, um, rather than sort of being like guided or shepherded or helped, or along the way. But yeah, kudos to you, Sergio. You're I can tell you're a wonderful father. Those kiddos are. It was sounds like might have been rough in moments, but they are the great kids. I'm sure they are because of you.
Oh man, that reminds me. The other day, I was at an estate sale. I had all these things, and I'm wrangling my circus. And this guy says, "Are you gonna be okay?" So I'm trying to get to my car, but I look at him and I say, I ask myself that every single day. Like, am I gonna be okay? But yeah, it can be rough, but everything that's worth it is rough.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, very true. I resisted going on another rabbit trail. Yes, but you're totally right on. Everything worth it is rough.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad. As far as the pop fly pop shop, what evolution have you seen as you've gone along? Because it's been how many years now?
Gosh, it'll be 4 years in June that we've been doing this. I think I'm on a similar page as you are. Our expression, you and I, is different, but I think our motivation is the same. That we want to tell stories, and my hope is that I become a better storyteller, more succinct and effective at it. And at the end of the day, I'd rather be known. I really have zero interest in being known for, oh, he's a great artist. I would much rather be known for he tells great stories. And so my hope is that my storytelling has gotten better, and I think the thing that helps me and is the same thing that hurts me in this process, in this pop shop, is that I'm very consistent. There's I am 99.9% sure I have undiagnosed ADHD as well. Consistency is not something that I have been known for in my life growing up, but this project has really kind of helped me focus into what I'm doing, and that's been great. At the same time, too, my internal self wants to be doing more. Right now, I've kind of become the comic book guy.
Yeah.
But really, like, I want to make this and get back into painting more, and do this physical thing and that physical thing, and just kind of make it whole, like, be more, for lack of a better word, complete as an artist. And there's a lot more in the tank.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of opportunity for expression. So I hope that I've evolved as a storyteller, but there's a lot of internal evolution that is still unexpressed. And by golly, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. There's this great book, and all you need to know is the title. The book is Die Empty, and
Like
just hearing the title alone, it's just like that says everything you need to hear. And so it's just my goal to die empty. And so I haven't gotten to all those things yet, but I will. I must. I'm a musician. I want to record those albums that have been sitting in the drawer. That I want to paint the pictures that are still in the tank. And so there's just this compulsion to make, well, more and more and more. So yeah, storytelling evolution, and kind of an inward want, an unexpressed want to broaden the base.
Do you ever foresee making the whole comic book?
I think so. I think so. If I can get it to the point that it's beyond just me making the art, I just can't. I can't do it by myself. I think everything would have to stop for me to take the time to do the whole comic book. And right now, it's just the weekly cadence doesn't allow for that. But I would be interested in doing that. But also, but then that would make me even more the comic book guy. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe
They're
I don't
just choices.
Yeah.
Like, I started in photography. I had a really good career.
Mm-hmm.
I was selling $10,000 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then one week, somebody saw me on the corner of a street in Houston, in a little festival tent thing. They said, "What are you doing?"
And you
like,
say,
"I'm painting."
I ask myself that question every day.
No, I was just like, I'm painting.
Yeah.
There's some things I'm very clear on, and
Sure.
creativity. Yeah, that is one of the, I think, misconceptions of ADHD. It's that there is that chaos, but there's also that hyper focus.
Yes.
For me, this is where it is, and it's not limited to paint. Like lately, actually, I'm about to do some things with photography again, and I have always allowed for that because my medium doesn't define me as a person or as an artist, and but my happiness does. Because if I'm not happy, I'm not me. So, yeah.
Totally get it.
Sounds like you beat yourself up a little making these decisions, but
Well, it's not so much beating myself up. It's just, it's such an interesting leap for me to, and not being, it's the struggle of making a career off of making art. It's a different experience for me working in a corporate space and then doing art when I'm not working in corporate space, to then taking that safety net of the corporate space away, to then now this, like, I went from I'm in the jungle, and it's scary, and the noises are scary at night, and it's just a different experience for me. And I'm sure other people experience differently, but like for me, it's been so like it's taken some getting used to doing this, and where before I was like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Now it's like I have to. I'm very intentional about like what I can do, because the whole family depends on it. It's just it's different, and so not beating myself up, but being like, I don't know, it's
apprehensive.
apprehensive, like yeah, like the creative choices and decisions I make no longer affect just my expression. They affect how I can care for the people that I love.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know every time I make a weird decision, I am very conscious, but I've gotten this far.
Yeah. Totally. And and that's, so you totally know what I'm talking about. And I should say that I make these choices that are sometimes odd. Like I did that Bartolo Colon piece, Big Sexy. I collaborated with him, and I drew him sitting in bed, as Big Sexy as a title, eating an apple. That's a big chance that not only I'm taking, but he's taken as well. And so I make these choices, sometimes making these baseball pieces without a lick of baseball in it. There's not a stitch of a baseball in it, but I'm going to call it a baseball piece. And so it's like I might have these apprehensions, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think what's been important to me is to still follow that artistic voice and to honor that artistic voice and to honor that desire to tell interesting stories. Because would it be more profitable to make Yankees and Red Sox players all day? Sure. Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth? Yes. A lot of folks like that. A lot more folks like that than me honing in and doing some, obscure player from 1930, whatever. But if that story is interesting that I want to tell from 1930, whatever, like I'm conscious of it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so it's been really, really important to me to still maintain that desire to tell interesting stories above all else. And I know when I do a piece, I'm like, this is not going to be popular, but man, did I have a good time making it. And I hope other people enjoy it as well. And so I can't, as apprehensive as I can get, I still have to, like, it's just a necessary code. I have to keep the project, authentic to the stories I want to tell and the way I want to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's very much sticking to your own narrative as a person. That's super important.
Yeah.
And I think when somebody loses sight of that, that's where you have an unhappy artist.
Yes. I just want more hours in the day to do it all. That's all I'm asking for. I'm asking for a 26-hour work day.
Yeah. It hasn't come yet, but
I know. Maybe it's 2024. Who knows?
Man, I will say that pre-children, it was 20 hours, go to sleep, repeat. It was insane.
Good on you. I think that's such a good thing that you're able to do, to be able to harness that focus, that hyper focus that you have access to, and to make is so much of what you did. I think I stunted my own self for such a long time, being for a million reasons, but when I turned 40 and got really, really prolific, I felt like I'm making up for 2 decades of not doing what you did.
Well, and I think about it too, because I don't have the studio time.
Mm-hmm.
But in between everything else that I'm doing during the day, I'm working on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing, I'm thinking of video ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm posting, I'm thinking how to market. I've got new ideas. So I'm not physically in the studio as much as I would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
But mentally, it's always there. So that's nice. And I think that came from just doing that. And I credit all the people that told me to get a real job for that ability.
Totally.
Because again, I don't like being told what to do.
That's awesome. I think that's a powerful tool, and not everyone can wield it very well. I think to be able to take a negative experience and turn and I call it rocket fuel. Turn that pain into rocket fuel that like propels you forward rather than letting it cripple you, like someone saying like get a real job or this and that, like, oh, maybe I should. You use it as rocket fuel to propel yourself forward, and that's awesome. My wife is incredible at that, and that's it's such a great quality to be able to do that. So it was so important, such an important quality that we try to teach our kid too, is like to turn any negative energy, just put that in your tank and let it propel you forward.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's the fact that I don't know what else I would have done. Like, just, I'm not sure how the art career started, but I don't know. I used to say I'm not that bright, but I've been kinder to myself as I age. I'm like, you're plenty bright. You're just different.
I love it. I know it's you're inspiring to watch, Sergio. Like knowing all the thing that goes into it, it's like not only are you making art, but you have to put on a website, you have to market it, you have to put you edit these videos, put it together. Like not like it's not, none of it is easy, or none of it, at least it's not easy for me, and I wasn't ready for it. Oh, you want a career in art? Let's spend a lot of time doing a lot of things that are not art to make it possible. So I see all the work that you do, and it's awesome to watch you being so prolific, and also just hustling too to put all the other pieces together. It's awesome.
But I think I'm thinking something similar. Like you talked about, you do a comic book, you would need a team.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm making these videos, these dual rambles, like I'm leaning into that. I'm thinking about bigger projects. Like I love Kid Mental, who does my music. I just love throwing him ideas and they come back, and it's awesome. I want to do more of that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's totally cool. I can't imagine, El Santos world with the team behind it. Well, what cool thing can be made with the team making El Santos vision, big. That's awesome.
That's where my head's been lately a lot. It helps talking to yourself every night. Which, I started a few weeks ago, I think. I don't know.
I think it's great, it's an underrated practice. I think just putting the words out into the atmosphere and hearing them spoken, and help, at least for me, it helps process my own thoughts, and so it's such a good practice, and it gets us off of our technology for a moment to let our thoughts wander and let one thought lead to the next and lead to the next, and it's that time and space to do so is getting rarer and rarer as we get busier and busier, and our technology gets closer and closer.
I think it's just a matter of the time doesn't go anywhere. It just needs to be relocated. I was talking yesterday. I saw this video a long time ago. It's RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. And so this kid goes up to him and gets an interview as he's walking to his bus or whatever. And he's like, well, how did you think of this thing? The way you built the Wu-Tang Clan. And he says a bunch of stuff, but then he starts talking about, we would just walk, we would talk, and then we'd bring this back and we'd do these things. And I vibed with that because when I would do art shows, do gallery things, I was director of a nonprofit. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We would either walk around or we'd sit at a Waffle House after a show and we'd come up with these ideas, and it came from talking. Now, the situation has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard for me to walk around the block with a friend and talk
Sure.
about creativity. So I said, maybe I should just be talking to myself and let people listen. And since I started doing that, like I feel like it was great to hear from you. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to connect a person to the work that I've seen for so long. And it's just a cool thing. So it's just thinking about different ways to do things. And that applies to creativity too, you know.
Totally.
Even when you were talking about you started in art school and weren't so sure about digital, but you did it and it was cool and it's awesome. So I think it's just working whatever is beckoning you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Are you okay? Are you up after curfew?
I know. I'm good. I'm 2 hours behind you. So are you up after curfew?
No, this is night shift.
Gotcha.
So everybody goes to sleep. I create some during the day. I cheat because there's art class, but but this is when the paint gets long. I do whatever I need to on here.
Awesome.
It's good times. So yeah, I'm glad you joined me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I've been watching your chats and it's been really cool. I know you're talking to yourself out there. I know it's just you, but there are people on the other end, like myself, that like that it's it's interesting, and we don't, like you said, we don't get the chance to walk around and chat with. It's a lot harder now than it was in 1990 whatever to do that, but
Yeah.
we still find our ways to connect, and so you're putting stuff out there, and I'm here to say it's being received. So
Yeah.
thank you for
No,
doing what you do.
totally.
Thank you for including me in this.
Oh man, likewise. It's what I realize is, it's another form of the walking and talking. It's just we're walking way closer to going back to that idea of frequency. The people that are in your creative frequency, and that's cool because then we can maybe come up with ideas, maybe do things together, and yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about or like
This is
promote?
I'm just freestyling right here, man. Like
Yeah.
nothing on the agenda whatsoever. Just chatting with other artists.
We'll close it. Well, let's see if there's questions. Put these on because I got tired. Cardboard designs. Oh man, you're still here. Okay. Thanks for doing this. Good discussion. You're both super inspiring artists. Well, thank you. It wasn't a question, but very nice. Yes. Very appreciated. Yeah, I think I know. Let me backtrack because I'm getting used to the second screen. Now I'll have a third one soon. Let's see. I think this one, I don't know what you were talking about, but I've left track. Goro Rivera, because things are going so well, do you feel trapped by your success as an artist? Do you have different projects on the horizon? So I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, not trapped, but I am longing to get. I want to leave this place empty, and I still got stuff in the tank.
Well, we do. And, yeah, we will have given it what we've got, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my plan.
Yep.
Creativity ablazing.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah, man.
there was this really great thing that I participated in for almost 20 years now. It's not fine art related, but it's called February Album Writing Month, FAWM, FOM.org. And what it is, I think it started, I think literally it was the 20th anniversary this year. And I think I started in 2005 and participated some years and not in other years. But it's writing 14 songs in the 28 days of February. And that practice was probably one of the most life-changing things that I've ever done, because it makes you get out of the way of what you're doing being precious, and being okay with version 1.0 of whatever you put out there, throwing your arms around the idea that done is better than perfect, done is beautiful. And so I dabble in music in kind of varying degrees over time, but a lot more when I was younger. But that practice of participating in February Album Writing Month, it's not a competition. It's for no one but yourself. It's just challenging yourself to write 14 songs in 28 days, and almost all the demos are just iPhone demos. Nothing fancy. It's oftentimes raw and ugly, but it's done. And it's one more song that you would have made that you wouldn't have made before if you didn't have that push.
Yeah.
And so doing that for me, I was very worried when I first started, what if it's not great? What if people realize that making art is hard, and it's messy, and it's not this straight shot up to greatness. It's this messy, clunky process, and you do more bad things than good things. What if people find out? But doing that and being okay with my really terrible songs and really crappy demos, that was so freeing in a lot of ways. And for musically, and that really paved the way to be helping me be more prolific as I got older with my art, because it's like I've gotten enough in my own way of oh, it's not this, it's not, what if people find out, not everything I do was wonderful. What if they know? Just put it out there, and that became so freeing, and such a big I can't understand how big of a piece of the puzzle that was for me, is just to show up and make, and it's not dependent on if it's the best thing you've ever done, but it's the dumbest thing you've ever done right now. And so much of that, that carries over into Popfly. I do this stuff every week. Is every piece the best piece I've ever done? Is every stroke exactly how I want it? No, it's not. But it's done, and I did it. And that's one more piece I am down the road. That's one less piece in the tank. And it became so it's just become so freeing, taking that February Album Writing Month and just applying it to art. I have no idea how I got to that concept from that.
No, I love that, because I'm hoping in part that is something that is old school. In photography, the thing that was pushed as a student for me is that getting this signature style.
Mm-hmm.
And what that equated to was making the same thing over and over again. And again, don't like to be told what to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was like, nah. But that is what's, I think, what was formerly taught. Things have changed so much
Mhm.
because we have all these technologies. The way you showed when I started, much different now, and I love it. I embrace it. I immerse myself in. I create a project every 10 minutes. But there's also a natural fear. I remember the first time I did a time lapse.
Mhm.
I was so worried because, if something's not going right, it's recorded.
Mhm.
But you quickly realize that, so what?
Yeah. Yeah.
If anything, sometimes the thing that didn't go right becomes really right,
Mhm.
and it triggers the next thing. So,
Totally. Yeah,
but
that's exactly what I say all the time. Like work inspires work, not just sitting there thinking about like, what should I do? What should I do? Should I not do this? Should I do this?
right,
Just showing up and starting. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been working on a pop fly and it's going one direction and I just do one thing. Like, oh, and that just unlocks this
yeah,
whole other thing. Oh, what if I do this? Okay, and then I stop that and I move on to this, and then just the process of just chewing on the art, the storytelling. That is what helped for me. That is what helps like get the best out there, and that mixed with a deadline, a deadline is an artist's best friend. That's been really powerful tool for me, and the cool thing about it too is that it makes it makes you make decisions that you might not have made otherwise
yeah,
because of the constraints, and if you have a certain style that you do, the time will not allow you to do that, so you're going to have to figure yourself out of a pickle uh, more often than not, and that kind of helps break you from your bag of tricks that you lean on, or that I lean on, and so it's been such a fun process with the music, sure, and with the art as well, and it's been such a fun challenge, and I totally recommend it to anyone. Do something akin to that. 14 songs in 28 days. Do a version of that in whatever kind of art you're interested in, and it changes your life.
the thing about limitation, it reminded me of in the early broker days. My friend and I were talking once. And it's like, yeah, it's like you run out of yellow paint and you can't go get some.
Mhm.
You just don't use yellow.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's
So,
it's it's totally true, and I find that all the time too. Like with my comic book prints, I try to keep it somewhat period authentic. That means that my color palette is like whoop, and so I need to figure out how to make these, and also the poses of baseball players. Not a lot of variation. We're all doing the same kind of this is, and this is. It looks the same. So how do I keep telling the same theme, baseball or football, but and using a tiny color palette? Like the challenge is to week after week make it feel new and fresh and different and inspired, and that's those kind of limitations, a lack of being able to go to the yellow paint store or having a tiny color palette like that those are gifts. Those are
yeah,
gifts.
I think so.
Yeah.
Worked for me.
So
All right.
the yellow paint store shut down. What are you gonna do?
All right. I'm going to outro us, but if you could stay on,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. We're out of here. Thank you, everybody that joined, and we will see you next time.
Bebop.
Bye.
Bye.